AfterBuzzers, we are talking the arrangement, episode 4, Crashing.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hey. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We are talking the arrangement. We are so excited. Lots of darker, sexier scenes this episode. I'm your host, Tessa Cevaal. You guys can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Tessa_Cevaal. And ladies, where can they find you?
I am Jessica Carroll, and you can find me at Jess Carroll TV.
I am Taquiala Jackson. You can find me at Taquiala_I am.
Hey, AfterBuzzers, it's Ally Nasta. You can find me on Twitter at Ally Nasta and on Instagram at Ally Girl.
And don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms at AfterBuzz TV. Well, you guys, this was a really fun episode. It wasn't as fast, but I think we got more into kind of the deeper secrets that have been going on. We learned a lot more about the Higher Institute, which was very exciting.
Yes.
We heard Kyle say that he's building a column.
Right.
That was interesting. We heard more about the facility and that Sophie is there and alive.
Yes.
So we have confirmation about that. And at the end of the episode, we have a little more insight into Terrence and Deanne's relationship and maybe some sexual things that are going on there. And then we also got to see Brandon get saved by the Institute.
Yeah.
So what are your guys' thoughts now that we kind of have a couple more pieces? And on top of that, because I keep going, Kyle kind of told Megan that Terrence was his saving grace through the Institute. So I think we found a lot more information now about this. So what do you guys think?
I feel like we got a lot of information in this episode and almost more of a backstory. Like when the whole car situation was happening with the car accident, I felt like we were kind of seeing throwbacks of Megan's reaction. I feel like maybe it brought up some memories from her past because she was kind of acting weird. And even when Terrence and I forget Terrence's girlfriend's name, Deanne, and anyways, but yeah, so I feel like, and then Kyle even revealed a little bit more about how he was a little boy and he brought out that baby picture. So I feel like we're starting to get a little bit more backstory.
Well, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I agree with you. I think Terrence sees, not Terrence, but Kyle, when you brought up the picture about him being a little boy, he was like, what do you see? He remembers being abused. So I guess it was some type of verbal, maybe physical, mental abuse when he was younger by his uncle when he tells Megan. And I like that part because it was kind of him opening up to Megan. So that makes me think, okay, even though there is a contract in place, maybe he really does love her, like her on a higher level or something. But I also wanted to get more into his background because if he was abused that young by someone he really loved and trust, I think that's playing into him and Terrence's relationship as well. So I'm interested in seeing more about that.
That's a great point. And just kind of backing up to what you were saying about seeing Megan have flashbacks, you felt like it was kind of like flashbacks. I didn't even think about that, but now that you say it, it might kind of have a little bit of answers to that whole secret that she's been hiding, that her friend had brought up, hey, you still have this, it's not going away. Yeah. So it might have something to do with that. I would have never thought that. So thanks for putting that out there.
Yeah, and we even saw Kyle open up even more when he was talking to Brendan about how he had this relationship with Sophia, right? And how she was and how she was almost like a live-in sex doll.
Yeah.
Which is kind of was not, I assumed that's kind of why she was there, but to hear it was really kind of jarring to me.
And he said it so nonchalant, and then he even said that he really does care for Megan.
Yeah.
Did he say the love word?
He did.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
that
was what threw me off.
I was like, okay, and he said it so, when you have this big sports guy, you normally don't goo goo gaga over girls, and especially throughout the love word. And he just said it so confidently. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, and I think even his friend was kind of like, huh?
So what am I gonna meet?
All right, sure. Okay, if she must be the real deal then. He kind of did have that reaction.
He was like, so when am I going to meet her? I love that part because it was like bro talk. He let down his guards and it wasn't with Terrence or anyone else from the Institute. So I actually smiled during that. I was like, okay, I'm loving this little bro conversation between the two of them. And so I think that also encouraged him too to, okay, let me bring Megan around. That's what maybe reach out to her one more time. Luckily, she answered the phone this time. And we have to get back to see what her reply was once she did answer the phone. Because it was something really, like you said earlier, just nonchalant about it. But it was just like, okay, now that I answered, we're back to normal. So what's happening next?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot to go over.
Yes.
But it all started with Kyle on set being pretty upset with the new girl who replaced Megan, Amelia. And I think that at that point, Kyle just realized, like, oh, crap, what did we do? And he also realized just how talented Megan is.
And I was scared for Amelia, too, because, when he whispered in her ear, just, like, stop acting, just be you. I was like, okay, maybe she was trying to be Megan because he knows that's what pulled him to Megan. First was the audition that she had, but then it made her cry. So I was like, okay, was that what he was trying to pull out of her, that rage? We never went back to see how it actually played out, but I also just wonder if people were pitting Amelia to be like Megan because that's what brought Kyle out and that's what they were looking for in that scene.
I kind of interpreted that conversation that they had where he kind of was whispering like kind of really mean things to make her get emotional. I thought it was strictly to make her kind of finally feel something.
Right. To actually cry and to actually bring out real tears.
Because they kept being like, come on, like, let's do it, get the tears on. And she was just like, I don't know if I can. You saw her on her phone a lot. Yes. So I felt like is his way of kind of like manipulating her mind to be like, okay, let's do this. Let's be in the scene right now. And like maybe we'll see next episode, like he's like, sorry, I didn't mean that, but I had to like get you to do it. I don't think he actually meant it. I think it was just in order to get like progress the scene. Because it seemed like when we were introduced that it had been happening for a while. Like they couldn't get the right take.
Right. I agree with you. I think that he was doing it on purpose to bring out real tears to actually move past this one scene.
Yeah. But I liked it because I think he's very even tone with his emotions. Just even though it was kind of a mean act, it was kind of nice to see more depth to Kyle.
Yeah.
Because I feel like he always has that front on. You know?
Yeah.
So, what do you guys think about his family and like going back to the picture? I mean, do you guys have any ideas as to what went down and how Terrence came into the picture? Because I think that was something I keep thinking about.
I'm thinking that he obviously came out to, LA just trying to pursue a career and didn't know where he was lost, and maybe along their crossing paths, depending on whether it was an audition or like, I can't remember the conversation that they had that Megan and I keep wanting to say Josh and Kyle had when they were in the diner when they were eating Mexican.
Oh, right.
Because he said, I came out here and I struggled a lot, but I can't remember. He didn't explain his like backstory a little bit, right? He didn't say like his like when he first got out to LA, did he?
No, he just said that, that he loves that restaurant because even though he had no food and, it was just, they would provide him with good meals for free and they were just kind of there for him. But he didn't really open up, but clearly he had a tough childhood.
Yeah.
And even when he first moved out to LA, like his family, didn't just, maybe they supported him, but he definitely had to work his way up to be successful.
Yeah, and so maybe that's just kind of a thing where Terrence saw something on Kyle that he didn't have because they say he was a failed actor. So I think he saw something in him depending on where that meeting ground place was. And then he was able to kind of sweep him in like a Cinderella story, like, okay, I'm going to take you to the next level of your career and give you this life. So maybe that's why we see him give in to Terrence all the time, because he feels like, I think we've talked about this, he feels like he owes him something. Like, I have to live up to Terrence because, he's gotten me to where I am today and I wouldn't be the person I am without him. So he feels like it's kind of like that they're attached to each other, whether he wants it to be or he doesn't want it to be, but it's like his father figure too.
Yeah, very true. And I think that's why he needs Terrence's almost stamp of approval on everything, because he grew up. Like, I think that Terrence has been that fatherly figure, and he does feel like he needs Terrence.
Yeah, that would make sense.
And I think when they were Kyle and Terrence were talking, I think it's before he was shooting the first scene with Amelia, he was saying how the new program in the column that he's about to start. And I think everything that Kyle does, part of his brand is bringing in people to the Institute. And I think that's something that maybe a contract between them two, maybe whatever you do about your brand, somehow it has to tie into the Institute so that we can promote that as well. So it goes back to us trying to figure out if it's Kyle who needs Terrence or it's Terrence who needs Kyle.
Right. Yeah.
I think it's a lot of give and take.
Yeah.
But what I also started to wonder this episode is after we saw Brandon get into the car accident and what we think is blackmail now to kind of, like, Terrence got him out of the accident and then Brandon promoted the higher institute. So do you think that Kyle maybe had a similar situation? I don't think so, but it kind of makes me wonder about other people in the Institute, if they've kind of been blackmailed into it, essentially, for lack of a better word.
Well, we haven't really seen, I don't think, any more, like, famous people in this world of the arrangement. I don't know who else would be famous in this institute so far. So I'm wondering if Kyle was kind of the first face, like, Terrence kind of, you know, took him under his wing, did what we said, and, like, got him to where he was today, and then that ended up being the main player of the institute. But for Brandon especially, I mean, this whole blackmailing thing makes you realize, like, maybe that plays into something that happened to Elizabeth when, you know, like, a reason why she left, because she didn't want to be blackmailed, and she was like, honestly, or she didn't want to be, you know, she knew whatever she had to do was going to get her into the higher institute, so she was like, I'm going to walk away from this. You can ruin my reputation. You can do whatever. But, I mean, it all kind of is just this big jumble of, like, mess of confusion, because you have so many different pieces that you're wondering if they play into each other.
And then even the missing girl, and he called and he asked about the missing girl and was like, oh no, she checked out right on schedule or something.
Yeah.
It's just like there's so much confusion. And then at one of the last scenes, we see Terrence kiss a girl,
Annika.
right in front of Deanne.
Not like that, yeah.
That's where I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I wonder, like, I didn't know what to think. I literally watched, like, what?
I had to
What's
jaw
going
I had to
on?
keep watching it over because at first I was like, okay, was that just like a hi, thank you so much for helping me kiss, and then went
No.
to Deanne and talked, threatened her a little bit, like I don't do well with being patient. But then I watched it a second and third time, I was like, oh no, it was something behind that kiss. Like,
Well, yeah.
it was real
It was
intense and on the lips, and
malicious.
yes, and I was like, oh, and I was waiting for Deanne to do something, but you know, it's the cliffhanger of the show, so we'll hopefully see next week. But I was a little annoyed about that, a little turned off too, like. I don't know what to think.
Well, yeah, I watched the scene, and then I was so confused because I was like, maybe I missed some sort of dialogue that happened. So let me go back to see if I understand what they said. And then what they said was pretty simple. It was just like, I'll welcome Annika to the institute. And then she, you know, went over and kissed Deanne, and it was more like, it was very malicious, and it was just, I think that's why it was confusing, because we didn't get any words, we only saw actions, so it's kind of like, all right, what does this actually mean now?
Right.
Do you think Terrence knows the relationship between Deanne and Annika?
I don't think so.
I
I think
don't
they
think
both
so.
have their own plan of
Yeah.
what that
I
Annika's
think
going to
so,
be
too.
involved in. Yeah, I don't think so.
And I think Annika knows that.
Yes.
I think she's totally playing that.
And from what Lexa said last week, that
Yeah.
Annika is a little bit more brilliant than we think. I think her screenwrite, her play, or whatever her thing she wrote, I think it's actually going to be really good. And I think once Deanne reads it, she's going to notice, like, hey, we actually kind of got something here.
Ooh, that's a
good
really
idea
good
too. Yeah, I
thought.
forgot about. She did hand Deanne her screenplay.
Yeah.
I was gonna read it. That's really true.
Oh, another thing that I was so shocked about is, oh gosh, what's Shawn? Is that
Yes, the friend.
The friend.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
She didn't tell Megan that
Yes.
Hope leaked the pictures.
That upset me.
At first, I was like, okay, I'm thinking maybe she's just trying to play up to it. Is all three of them together or something like that? Especially when Hope called and was like, are you doing porn? And Megan was like, no, gosh, what's next? And I feel like it's kind of leading up to Hope kind of maybe revealing something else, maybe another text, another picture, phone call or something, and then Shawn's probably going to go in for the kill.
Well, and I found it interesting that Hope was the one that brought it to Megan's attention. That
She
the
probably
porn-
leaked that too.
That's what I'm thinking, because there was no one there. Like, it was such a random house. Like, why would there have been paparazzi
true.
there?
I think that Hope is
I
stalking
think it's
her and
weird.
setting her up.
It's very
for
weird
failure.
to me.
That could make sense.
Think about yes.
Just like with the whole Shawn not calling Hope out and talking to her friend, like if that's your best friend, you're gonna tell her regardless. Like as soon as you storm out of that place, you say, "Listen to what happened." But what made me think a little sketchy things about Shawn's character is that she has some sort of ulterior motive because she met that friend that is a instructor at the institute, and she was gonna go on a tour, and she was completely okay with Terrence taking her on that tour, and I felt like she was kind of manipulating the situation. It's almost as if she wanted Terrence to take her. That's kind of how I felt.
I felt opposite. I felt
Really?
Terrence was interfering once again because he just told the instructor, like, okay, well, you can go home. You have a class tomorrow in the morning, right?
I felt,
I thought he was, trying to interfere once again with something else that's going on in the show, period.
But I also felt that even though he was interfering, it was the way that Shawn was coming off to what I could have kind of interpret was that she was like, "Oh yeah, you want to take me around this place, do you?" Kind of like, "I know what you're doing here." Like, I don't know, I feel like she's one step ahead of them, but they don't know that. That's kind of what I see, but I don't know if it's in a good way or a bad way. Like,
right.
And now that she didn't tell Megan about Hope, it kind of makes me wonder, how is she playing into this? She knows everything about the contract. Like, Megan's telling her all the inside scoop about what's happening, with Kyle, with the institute, everything. That's her best friend. So it's like, I can't, obviously, like, she seems like a good friend when she stormed out, but now that there's a lack of communication, you wonder where the loyalty lies.
I almost feel like Terrence definitely interfered. Like, I know that is Megan's really good friend. I don't want any extra information leaked or anything.
Right.
I thought that Shawn was almost there kind of to be like a detective, like to kind of figure out more about the institute because she knows more than a lot of people know. Right. She knows who leaks the picture. She knows Megan's contract. She has this in with the institute, and I think she's trying to put all the pieces together to then approach Megan and say like, "Listen,
okay,
I know more information than you think, and I need to tell you everything."
That makes sense.
That's what I thought, because like she obviously was a little held back, like, he wants to show me around. We kind of had this like chemistry thing.
And that's what she
came
with.
The fact that Terrence was still gonna show her around, she was like, "Okay, fine, I'll let you show me around because I actually want to like know more about this place."
Interesting. And that's kind of what you were saying, because you were saying she's holding off to wait to tell Megan about Hope. Okay. I understand where you guys are coming from.
We have different opinions, but we'll see. Hopefully they'll tell us.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would agree. I never thought about it that way. That she was like being
slithery. I don't know.
Slithery Shawn.
But going back to the whole porn situation,
Yes.
that was kind of awkward. Where the girl was like, "Oh, I'm Megan Hornison."
Yes.
What?
I didn't like that either.
I was very thrown off. I did not think that's where we were going with this.
And I thought Daisy was kind of setting her up. At first, I was led to believe that this was what Daisy was producing herself, and she wanted to bring Megan in to kind of get to see how Megan would feel about that. But she was kind of taken aback, too. Like, okay, this was really strange and really weird. So either I missed something in the show, or this was just off the cuff. Daisy didn't know what her friends were producing. She knew it was in the porn field, but she didn't know exactly that it was going to be the Megan, being a porn star. So
I thought the exact same thing that you did, because, the first thing that went wrong with when Kyle and Megan and Daisy, I thought maybe Daisy was setting her up to make it seem like she was doing a porno. But after watching the whole episode,
I didn't think about that. I think I was just so taken aback of what was happening. I was just like, I don't understand. Like, I want this scene to be over.
That out, right?
But then after the whole thing, I kind of now feel like Daisy had no idea.
I didn't think so either. At the end, especially when they both walked out and she was like, okay, this was kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think either one of them. And the girl just was so excited. I don't know, just how you would feel if someone comes to tell me I'm you, but the porn version of you. Like, who wants to think about that? And who really wants to be your friend with someone who wants to, have that input on someone who's like the celebrity, in case it's Megan. But I think that kind of led to her going into being okay with having the phone sex with Kyle when they first got back to talking together. Because for a minute she was like, I'm watching a porn. Like, this is ridiculous, but I'm doing it. And he was like, oh, really? He was even surprised.
Yeah.
But for her, it's like it was a close up and just her face just eased. And he was like, well, tell me what they're doing. And she was like, then it's like, okay, well, I'll tell you. So then I don't know if she kind of pulled from that energy there or not.
Right.
But it was the whole triangle of that segment was just really crazy.
So well, I was surprised too that Megan didn't really get punished in a way for it. Like, this is a very bold thing to attach yourself to.
Yeah.
And being in such a controlled environment with a contract and being attached to something with porn is not something I thought would just fly.
Yeah.
Like it
Especially
did.
after the pictures.
Yeah, especially after that. Like, it all kind of just, like, trickled down. And what I was kind of thinking is that when we first saw them talk about the contract and when they were standing on, like, the overpass or whatever with all, like, the lights and it was dark wherever they were, he was talking about how with his brand, nothing can kind of interfere with that. And that's why the contract needs to be signed. So everything's kind of even keeled and there's no drama. There's no out-of-the-box situations. And obviously we don't see the prior Kyle West, but it sounds like whatever's happening now, it's like it doesn't matter. Like, I feel like this contract at the same time, you're kind of like playing with this, like, because there's loopholes. There's a bunch of loopholes.
Right.
So I wonder if that's going to play into this whole story too, where like she can find the loopholes and regardless, they're still going to be together. So I don't know, and like maybe that plays in with Kyle's like, I actually love this girl, and maybe, man, I'm just throwing, this is my prediction, maybe the contract will just go out the window, and he's like, we're just gonna be together regardless.
That's a good point, because he did tell her at some point, like, you after they had the conversation with this picture, he said, I want to be the man you need me to be. It's just going to take some time. Because she's really frustrated at how much Terrence has such a stronghold over Kyle and his thinking and his actions and everything. So that's really a good point. Maybe there will be a loophole that she can get through and Kyle agree and they'll run off to the sunset or something far away from the institute.
Especially because we've all talked about how strong she is and like she's gonna say what she wants to, and she's not gonna really like sit back. Like, so she sat back a couple times when Terrence has gone up to her, but I feel like she has a really good way of like speaking her mind and doing what she wants. Therefore, she didn't talk to Kyle for a couple days because she felt like what happened to her was injustice, was not fair. And so I think that this is kind of like, this is playing with like the power play of like, Terrence is really going to realize he's going to have to struggle, like pulling, it's like tug of war with Kyle.
Exactly.
And he's maybe going to realize that he doesn't have as much power over him with Megan in the picture, which leads me, I'm sorry, I'm like talking a million miles a minute, but I'm thinking that maybe that plays into Deanne, my theory of Deanne and how she's like going to overtake the institute and how I thought that she picked Megan out of everybody. I'm thinking maybe that's how she knows this, because she knows she's powerful and like will say what she wants. I don't know.
No, that works good.
Yeah.
That theory
Call me
does
crazy.
work good.
Really? No, I'm into
does.
it. Do you think that's why then that Terrence came to Megan's house and kind of threatened her with the whole like, Kyle's gonna get bored with you if you like.
He's
don't-
playing mind games with her for
And
sure.
because he knows that's Deanne's girl, and they kind of have similar characteristics too. So I think I agree with your theory, and also the reason that Terrence came and threatened her. She thought she was scared, so when you kind of caught, you just blurt out, I didn't post the pictures, I didn't even know there were cameras there or anything like that. He was like, no, but a croissant, you want breakfast?
Yeah,
So
you're
it
like,
was
I'll
just
take the food, sure.
Very kind of creepy demeanor. At least he did in this episode. I felt like he was kind of more business minded, but now I see him being so sly. I mean, what are you really up to?
Something sketchy, especially when we
don't
saw
like
the end of the episode, like something really weird. Not really sure where this is going.
Yeah.
Can we talk about, please, this karaoke scene? I fell in love with Megan at that part. She rapped the lyrics to OPP, Naughty by Nature, so well.
Oh, yeah.
She even danced to it. She was the cutest there.
feeling it.
I
You guys-
loved it, yes.
I think that in real life, that's like her go-to karaoke song.
Right.
And she actually loves to rap it, and she was probably the one that suggested that song.
I would have to
and
agree.
even the fact that she was in like this white jumpsuit, it made it. I was dying. This was so good.
And I was even happier to see Kyle come out of his shell too. Like, I think it was what's Brandon's girlfriend, wife's
Claudia,
name?
Claudia.
Claudia.
Or
Yeah, I
Cece.
think it was her that kind of pushed him, because she was like, "Are you going to get up there?" And Kyle's like, "No." He's standoffish at first. She was like, "So you're too good for karaoke? You're too good for autographs with your fans? What?" And then he gets this boldness, like, "I'm not too good for that." And he gets up there. He does ask everybody to put their phones away. This is the only way it's going to happen.
It's like Terrence moment.
But once he starts, I was like, "Oh, I couldn't wipe the smile off my face for about a good 2 minutes."
Yeah.
I felt like it kind of brought that like chemistry that they have back that we're sometimes forgetting, because there's been a lot of like little teeny fights here and there, and you're like, they are so cute together, and like you see them against a couple that's kind of struggling with that, and you realize that I think, contrary to some of my beliefs in the first couple episodes, I really do believe he's in love with her, and I think these moments prove that. And he's struggling right now with the whole Terrence thing himself. And so this was a surefire way. I'm like, okay, they definitely are in love.
That sealed the deal for me.
Yeah.
It did, yes.
I want to know your guys' opinion on why the whole conversation at dinner with Claudia and Brendan, because when she got up to go take selfies, Megan figured her out and was like, she wants her shine.
Mm-hmm.
And then Megan was like, oh, I know the perfect spot to take her. So what do you think was like the meaning behind taking her to this place where this stripper girl goes all the time? This karaoke spot?
Well, I think part of it was to kind of win her trust of them being members of the higher institute.
Oh.
Because I think that was the whole point of them going to dinner, was to try to be
Like,
friends
win them
with them,
over.
and like Kyle's been trying to win him over. So I think now they kind of got him. He's like right there, but then they needed the wife too. So I think that was how Megan chose to kind of like bond them all together by giving her that moment.
I was trying to figure that out too, only because I thought it was going to be this moment where she was going to be like this amazing singer and like it was just going to be a big deal. But then it was kind of like we saw a very minuscule moment, and it wasn't like she got her full like 15 minutes of fame or whatever. So that was kind of confusing as to like how is that going to correlate together down the road. But to answer your question, I literally have no idea how that would play in, because it kind of like slipped my mind too. Because I understand what you're saying, Tessa, like that's like she got like a little bit of her moment, but I'm wondering like how far down the road that will actually take them.
Right.
It's just
Yeah.
confusing.
I was thinking the same thing, ladies. I was more concerned about how she was questioning the institute and wanting to get information about it. And she suggested and said that that's what they do at the Higher Mind Institute. They audition women to be, I didn't know if she meant Kyle specifically, but if they audition women to be his girlfriend. So I think if she has that kind of same mindset, just the irritation of it, and if Brandon's actually going to be in the column with the Institute and Terrence, she's going to try to get someone else like-minded, someone that she can maybe now take under her wing and hope, and maybe she'll come into the breaking down of the Institute with Deanne as well.
That's-
the three of them.
That's what I think.
I don't know. Yeah.
Wow, I did not think about that at all.
I didn't think about that.
That is a great theory.
And I mean, karaoke is a place to get everyone, just
Oh,
take your stress
karaoke
down,
is
bring
my
it down.
jam.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're not really too stronghold. You're not really too uptight. You're just free. So I think that's what that was about.
Yeah.
Oh, you just changed my whole mind.
Yeah, that was great. That was a great
Wow,
breakdown. I think I needed that.
That's what I was thinking, because when she was like talking about how she kind of carries the pants in the relationship, and she's a very strong girl, I kind of thought what you were thinking.
Another woman behind a strong man
Yeah.
that wants to come out into the front in her own again. So
Yeah.
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 She's
I think that's
very
good.
strong. I mean, like when they were in the car and stuff too, like she put on like a front with him.
She did, yes.
Oh, you like signing her butt? Like, oh, you like? I was
Yeah.
like, whoa.
yeah.
Yeah, I love that. But then we really got to see Megan's true character when they freaking hit this car, and her first instinct was to run out and just try to save this human
Yeah.
being.
Right.
And of course, Kyle followed. The other two freaking could care less.
Yeah.
But that was, and I mean, the fact that, obviously cameras, you don't know how the media is going to spin the story, and the fact that she just didn't even care. She put her hands on him. She pulled him out of the car. She got in there. She was just going to save this guy's life.
Well, like, when I was kind of freaking out, I was like, why is no one not calling 911? And I, like, didn't even think, obviously, because they're thinking with celebrity brains. I was just like, someone call the ambulance. Like,
Yeah.
get them over here to get this guy safe. Because what scares me is they say something. Doesn't it, like, when you pull someone out of a car, you have to be careful because if they get, you can hurt them.
Yeah.
And so, like, that's a scary situation. So I think I was just stressed about, like, where's the ambulance? Like,
Yeah.
get them on the scene. But I know what you mean. Like, it was, her first instinct was to help the person, and I think that's what made Kyle be like, you're right, we need to help these people, like that this person that it was like their fault,
Right.
and it was like a good like I don't even know, like she brought that side out of him, because if she wasn't there,
She
do you
did.
think he would have done that?
No, I don't think so. And I think that's why his help, his 911 call was Terrence.
Yeah.
Again. And then he
you're
pops up and
right.
is like, oh, officers, I have Captain Davis on the phone for
Yeah.
you. Again, interfering and clearing everything else, but what is behind all of his ulterior motives? Like,
And
I
even
can't
how they
wait to
shot
get to
that
point.
video, like, after Kyle and Megan
Yeah.
left.
Yes. And I was a little upset that Kyle wasn't as more outraged like Megan was about what came out, because
Oh.
it totally was, again, not the truth. And then you're
Yeah.
promoting the Higher Institute.
It's like
once
he was
again.
almost relieved. Like, oh, thank goodness.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's just happened so many times that Kyle's like, oh, don't worry. No matter what happens, they'll take care of it. And they'll spin it around so that we look good.
Very true.
It is scary. I kind of am like realizing how powerful Terrence is. I think this episode really demonstrated that.
Yeah.
Because,
Especially
to get someone out of a DUI like that, it's not easy.
No.
No.
Calling the captain or not. No, because you still had an injured man. We don't know if he lived or not. We don't know if he's a concussion.
Yeah,
we
I
don't know
hope
what's going
he's
to be the story or
okay.
not.
In the world of the arrangement, I hope he's okay.
I know.
And then also Sophie, I think we should talk about again too. Like, what's going on with her, and why is he's very kind of standoff with the detective. Like, he's like, I know high like people high up, and she was like, so do I. Da, da, da. But he seems so confident that she will not get to the bottom of it.
Yeah.
Because he has his hands in it. But I want to know where he sent her and why.
Yeah.
So we know she's alive. She's at some facility. But what facility is that and why?
Yeah.
Like,
And
what
she's on
happened?
track, whatever that means.
Exactly.
Yeah.
On track for what?
I
To
don't-
go back in the real world, but how? Why? Like,
Hopefully back into the real world.
well, I think they said that at one point, didn't they? Like,
Yeah,
the
he was like,
transition or something.
It's time for her to be back before they really start questioning or something. I think he said a lot.
So is this facility where you go when you threaten the Higher Mind Institute
creeps
because it's
me
not working
out.
out you want the
Gives
way
me
you
the
want to?
heebie-jeebies.
Yeah.
Oh, it is so interesting.
Because the last time we did see her, she was threatening them to expose all information she knew, correct?
Yeah.
So I wonder, I mean, after that, she's been missing. So I
Right.
wonder if that's punishment for you not abiding by the contract. Like, you get sent to this institute and you get missing. And
Yeah.
maybe you're harmed or I don't know. But yeah, that's the side I want to see.
And we also, speaking of sides, we finally saw the side of Deanne stand up against Terrence when she was meditating. And she was just like, I'm trying to get away from you. Can you just leave me alone? And so she's finally starting to, you know, push him and kind of stand up for herself.
Yeah.
I like how she made him actually apologize because I don't think he's one to apologize quite often. He does what he wants and that's it. That's the last word. But she did make him see that he did go over her. She was the producer. It was her call to say yes for Megan or Amelia in the movie, and he said he did it because it was better for the business. Of course, his main goal. But then he realized, okay, I screwed this up. I'm sorry. And she was like, you are, but this is your turn for you to make it better. And I'm not going to tell you how to do it.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see what that brings along too, because I thought him going to Megan's house was kind of going to be the bridge to that. We see that didn't happen. But I thought it was going to be the bridge to maybe him trying to warm up to her more, get to know her a little bit more so he can kind of be on even ground with Deanne.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it was a good follow-up to how the last episode ended with her saying that, like, we're not always going to be the women behind the men. I'm like, oh, Deanne, like, what are you thinking? Because that was such a big cliffhanger last episode. She's, like, always the cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? Like, what are you doing? Because I want to know what her bigger motive is and why Megan is such a threat. Like, Megan is such a threat and it's so confusing to me.
Yeah. And that's kind of where it's like, my theory comes in. I'm like, okay, so Deanne picked her. Why? Because she had her idea about Megan because she kept pushing her, remember, in the audition. She was like, no, this girl Megan, we've got to watch it. We've got to watch it. And so it just kind of plays into what I think, and my theory is like, why did she choose her? What does she know about her past that's going to help make this, whatever their ploy is and their plan, whatever's going to help that. It's like a seed in this, like, explosive, whatever it may be.
And I wonder too, going back like to the beginning of the show, if Megan would still not be speaking to Kyle if it wasn't for Leslie, her agent, saying, well, you only get 3 days to yourself until you're in breach of the contract. So I wonder how that would actually play it out, because she still really wasn't feeling them. She ignored his call when she was out with Daisy, and then later on when she was at home, after she received that information, she finally answered it. So I wonder how that would actually played out if they would have let her be in breach for a day or two or something.
That is true. Well, and then Megan, kind of moving back to her agent, went behind her back and auditioned for the play.
But that was such a good one, though. You see how she shut that director up?
Oh, yeah.
He was like, so have you found your
that.
whatever character? I forgot the name, but have you found your character yet? And you see his face turn like, this girl. No, I haven't, but okay. She made her point, so now she can audition and read.
See, those are the moments where I'm like, yeah, girl.
Yes, that girl power behind it all.
No, I love that. So I guess, do you guys want to talk about predictions for next episode?
Yeah, let's do it.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
I love that every time.
I know. It never gets old.
It doesn't.
All right, Ally, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, I feel like I've already said like 5,000 predictions today, but basically my main one is that Deanne is using Megan for some ploy to help take down the Institute, but today she was challenged, or this episode she was challenged because she realized one of her other pieces in this huge puzzle that she has going on was Annika, and now she's almost getting played against her. So whatever Annika may be in her plan to do whatever she may be doing, it's gonna like put a roadblock, not completely, but she's gonna have to figure out her way around it, and maybe instead of being, she might have to not suck up to her, but kind of put Annika back on her side and be like, listen, I'll read your script, just go away.
Yeah.
And then just for the Megan and Kyle relationship, I feel like overall, I think that she will get Kyle out of his Terrence spell. Eventually. It's going to be a struggle and a trial, but I think kind of what we talked about with the contract, I think she's going to like pull him and reel him and be like, you actually think what was good for you is bad for you. And so then, because they really are in love, so maybe they'll get there some way and by the end of the season, I don't know.
You kind of talked into my prediction. Really? So I'm thinking that Megan's going to get this part in the play. Kyle's going to want something to do with it, but it's going to be somewhere in the contract that something else is going to come up. They can't work together, or it's bad for the Institute,
Yeah.
whatever happens. But I think that's going to be part of Megan's way of breaking down these walls and these barriers to open up Kyle's eyes more to Terrence and the Institute and how much they have control over everything that he does. And I think that's going to make Kyle start being his own person, trying to see how things work without always going to Terrence for all of that information. So that was my prediction.
Yeah,
Great.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Megan's definitely going to change Kyle's perspective on Terrence by I think she's really going to pull out what happened to him as a child.
Yes.
And I think that by doing that, she's also going to reveal her childhood. Which we know that there's some secrets there. We don't really know what either. And I also think that Megan is going to convince Kyle and show Kyle that the media and the Institute is just lies. Like they're taking every situation and manipulating it, and they're not telling the truth. And so I think that Megan's going to do that. Of course, her and Deanne are going to continue to like work together. And I think that Hope is doing some investigation for Megan and is ultimately going to vomit all the truth out to Megan, and that's just going to convince Kyle even more, like, listen, we need to make a change because this Institute and this contract is not good.
Yes.
Wait, Hope or Shawn?
Shawn,
Oh, okay,
sorry.
okay.
Shawn
No,
is
I
gonna
was like, whoa.
No, sorry.
Wow.
Shawn is going to
Okay.
reveal the stuff about Hope.
Okay.
You guys kind of took all mine. Now I'm like really trying to think of something else, because I agree with a lot of you guys. I think that Terrence, we're going to find out, has just manipulated a lot of people, and Kyle's going to figure that out. I do think I see the Kyle and Megan connection stronger now, so I do see it lasting, because I think like last episode I was talking about how I wasn't sure, but like since the contract's there, it's kind of this security blanket where even if they fight or whatever, they know they have to make up essentially, but I do see it. So like you said, I think the contract might fade away now throughout the rest of the season. I'm trying to think what else. I think Annika is a lot more powerful than we think she is.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited to see how that all plays out.
Me
Definitely.
because it's crazy. I feel like she's a little psychotic. Just every time she comes into a scene, it's like
nutso
it
look in
does,
her
and she
eyes.
does. So I'm excited about this crazy drama power whole character that she is. To see
Yeah.
what comes of it. Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
But I guess my bigger like season prediction is Terrence and Deanne will split.
Ooh.
That's a good one.
Because I don't see this, especially the way this episode ended, like working out well.
Yeah.
Like she
But I think
seems like her motive is so big and powerful that it's gonna tear them apart.
Maybe even Deanne and Terrence have their own like contract.
I think.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe Megan and Deanne together are going to work together to get rid of both of them. Like
There you
I
go.
like that.
Woo!
Yes.
Girl power.
It's there.
Look at these theories on I mean, hey, it could happen.
That is true. And I think the porn piece will be very successful. That's my other big prediction.
The porn piece.
Maybe
Porn,
Claudia.
Like, it's gonna like blow up.
Maybe Claudia will get involved in the porn piece.
Well, that's true.
Oh.
Because, I mean, Daisy's a big known name herself as well. And depending
Yeah.
on how her and Megan work it out, Claudia, I'm sure, is going to be a part of it somehow,
Yeah.
too. That could be really good, too. You see Megan trying to do her own thing.
And maybe Deanne is going to take on Annika's script and say, like, listen, I want you to produce this. And then Kyle said that he wants to direct something with Megan, so maybe he'll cast Megan and they'll... Who knows? I don't know.
Oh,
I'm just throwing that out
Take
there.
that phone sex
I
a
know,
little
that's a
further,
good
right?
one. Now you can say you called it when it
I called
happened.
it.
Yes.
wait, one last thing. What do you guys think will happen when Megan and Annika see each other again? Because remember, she thinks that that's
She's the
The
baby
pregnant
mama.
by Nick. Yeah.
yeah. Because do you
Oh.
think they're gonna like
Oh, definitely cross paths at some
cross
point.
paths maybe the next episode or two?
They
You
have
know what?
to.
I'm thinking that'll be like a season finale thing where we're like, what's gonna happen? You know what I mean? Where
have to
she's
wait
like,
for
you. Like, I
Yeah.
remember you.
Right.
You know what
Shouldn't
I mean?
you be like a few months pregnant by now? Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Definitely. Oh, man.
And if not, then how's that going to change her mind about Nick then?
Oh.
Because if you
Oh,
know, because
that
he
is
never
so
got he never got the
true.
opportunity to plead his case. He kind of got in his feelings and just was
Yeah.
mad at her because it's true. You're dating Kyle. What the heck?
Yeah.
But he never got a chance to plead his case. They never
never
talked
really
about it. She
thought
just
about
walked
So
off. on
that
him.
could be another thing to break this contract up.
Could
We
be.
will see.
Yes.
So many predictions.
Oh
So many.
my
It
gosh,
is.
guys. Well, thank you guys for joining and tuning in. We had so much fun talking about this. I'm your host, Tessa Cevaal. You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Tessa_Cevaal. And lovely ladies, where can they find you?
I'm Ally. Oh, sorry. I'm Ally Nasta. You can find me on Twitter at Ally Nasta and on Instagram at Ally Girl.
I'm Taquiala Jackson. You can find me everywhere social at Taquiala_I am.
And you guys can find me at Just Carroll TV. I am Jessica Carroll, and thank you so much for joining us. And let us know what you guys think of this show so far.
Yes, tweet us. Tweet us your predictions. See you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.